Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with the mistress of despair, A.B Stoddard, my colleague at the Bulwark. And A.B, it is Monday, July 22nd, and everything is okay.
It is. Everything
Looking
is
up.
not terrible.
Everything is not terrible.
Yeah.
You and I have not spoken since Joe Biden pulled the ripcord at 1:45 on Sunday afternoon. My sense is that this could not have gone better. In the last 18 hours, we've had Democrats congealing, coalescing, whatever word you want to do, around Kamala Harris at a fantastic rate. In the first 24 hours, she raised over $100 million from small dollar donors. And I don't know. I get the sense that there's something going on here. Thoughts?
Yeah, I was really impressed and pleased to see the stampede of endorsements just coming in, like it was almost as if they were lined up in advance. There are a few holdouts asking for an open primary, but throughout yesterday into the night into today, it continues to be, this united front. And the $100 million is just amazing. I mean, it really speaks to energy and excitement. The endorsements speak to unity, but that kind of just grassroots response is really exciting. And I think, she escapes, you said yesterday, which I think is so smart. She kind of gets two things at once, right? She has the experience of being a vice president, so she's ready, but she can run as the future. She can run as an insurgent. She can run as the sort of outsider to Donald Trump. But most importantly, we're just turning the page. We are a different generation of people. We're going to leave you in your 1950s and make America great again. I'm entitled to a white guy painting my house and mowing my lawn behind. And I do think that the party is, because of how long the sort of painful period lasted, the party is high on relief and that excitement and that momentum and and forward movement is just, that is priceless, right? That is priceless.
Especially in a short campaign. Right. I mean, that's what everything is different because we're looking at 16 weeks, I think, maybe 17 weeks, right? And it is easier to build momentum over a short period of time. She has the built-in bump of both her VP announcement and the sorry, my brain is freezing because I was up so late last night, and the convention coming her way. She has the debate, which Trump will desperately try to get out of doing and may wind up skipping. She has a whole bunch of ramps built into this race for her at this point. And she's still the underdog. I think we should be clear about that. But one of the places Biden was suffering was in polling among self-identified Democrats. I think that in 7 to 9 days, when we get our first real Harris versus Trump polling, we're going to see her doing better with Democrats. Now, she may lose ground with other segments, but I think the evidence so far is that she is going to really be starting to solidify Democratic voters with her. Thoughts?
Yes, I thought that was apparent in the fundraising. I mean, that Biden has lost the base, still had enough of it, but not to win the election, and still had enough parts of the base telling him, we love you, we're devoted, don't leave, you've been such a wonderful president. And this base juicing event, I mean, I do think, first of all, before yesterday, we had seen polling that she does do better with parts of the coalition, energizing, pulling back in some Latino voters Biden was losing, et cetera. But then it's just this event that it's the official now moment, the turning the page, the turning the corner. I just feel that she is definitely, that the Democrats are going to forget what it feels like to feel good. And they're going to be so pumped.
Yeah, she really, I mean, I think her great advantage is that the general sense of American politics, not for everybody. If you're a MAGA person, you've been living your best life for the last 8 years. But for the other 58% of the country, let's call it, has been, do you remember the Sweet Meteor of Death 2016 bumper stickers, right? Like everybody's
Yeah.
like, I can't believe we're trapped in this timeline.
Yep.
And what Harris offers the ability to say is, are you sick of arguing about masks and COVID and vaccines? Are you sick of talking about the 2020 election and stolen delegates and all that stuff? Are you sick and tired of felonies and stuff like that and old people? Like, let's just wipe the slate clean and go from here. And I think that's a powerful message. I think because I think nobody likes this era in American politics. I mean, that's not, as I said, not the MAGAs really like this era in American politics, but they're like 40% of the country. Um, I don't know. Am I wrong about this? Am I being Pollyanna?
No, I think it's true. And I think that the MAGAs really loved the last 3 weeks. I mean,
Yeah,
that was, right? It
it's been the
was,
best. Right.
we can't lose. We cannot lose. The confidence was impenetrable and everything broke their way. And the idea that everything, so, Sarah has spoken frequently about the strong, weak frame. That was the frame we were in. Biden weak, Trump
Right.
strong. And, Bill Clinton, strong and wrong will beat right and weak, right?
Yep.
And now it's just like it's gone. It's literally the future, the past. And
Yeah.
that's the framework that we're in. And this country is so desperate to move on. Is she going to get everybody? No. And like you said, now we'll know those people who said we just need an alternative. We'll find out how many of those people still are going to back Trump. But I think she gets a good number. And like you said, she's an underdog, but I see a path to her winning because of what you just described. This pathos, this time we've been in. People are just so ready to move forward. And obviously the VP choice, whoever he will be, will double that because he will be young and it'll be like this double dose and injection of energy and excitement about tomorrow, about a generation that lives in this economy, not the one that Trump and Biden understand.
Right.
That live in this culture, not the ones that the 80-year-old men think they were living in. It's just gonna be such a different conversation, I think, and I think we have a real shot.
Talk to me about the VP stuff. We're going to be, I mean, I assume she will not announce until just before the convention because why would she? You want to build as much suspense and build as much momentum as possible. It seems to me that the obvious safe pick is Shapiro of Pennsylvania, but that doesn't mean that he's the pick. A lot of people, Sarah made a last night on the live stream. Sarah made a pretty compelling argument for Andy Bashir. And the idea being, no, he doesn't bring a state, but what he does is he brings a white Southern governor who codes because he talks with, his accent, which
He
I
has
won't
a
imitate.
bluegrass accent.
A bluegrass accent, just like Cletus. Because he has a bluegrass accent, codes as normie. Right. If you're a Rust Belt white working class voter, having this guy talk about how great Kamala Harris is might code to you as endorsement. And it's not a play for a state. It's a play for reassurance of a certain kind of voter. What are your thoughts on all this stuff?
So
Is there
I
somebody
love
else?
I love Andy Bashir and what he would bring, and what you're describing is, VP picks are a partner in governing, or we need to heal a big painful divide and unite the party, right? There's different, or you get a state. The argument for Josh Shapiro is plain as day. You know,
Right.
Pennsylvania, you got to get it. He is very popular there. He's an experienced guy who's ready to. I mean, he's ready to talk the talk, and he's just a. If anyone out there has not watched him speak, I really urge them to. Um, he has 4 kids. He's just as normal as you could be, and a great guy to see out on the campaign trail, swatting back misogynistic and racist attacks on Kamala Harris, and a great guy to
Yeah, he's a no
campaign.
BS guy. He
Right,
codes
right.
very much as like
Very
not a
authentic.
politician.
Yes,
Super
yes.
authentic.
Very not slick, not performative. Um, but I get the appeal of Bashir, which is the total out of the box, not what you expect to see standing next to Kamala Harris, let alone partnering with her. And it is he's just very compelling, and there is that intangible that is, you know, really in the end often very powerful in terms of how people make these decisions. Can I trust her? Oh, she would do that. Okay, I can trust her because she did that. You know, when Hillary Clinton picked Tim Kaine, it was like, did she pick the guy who's like gonna have like 2 sentences on his own per year? Like, it was so obvious that she picked the guy to be in the background. And if Kamala Harris picks someone like Andy Bashir, who's a governor who's from a different like part of the U.S. culture than Kamala Harris comes from, it shows a level of confidence that she would have. And it would, I don't know, it would say a lot, I think.
It would say, hey, don't worry, I'm going to pick the whitest man in America.
Right.
Right. I mean, this is
Right.
Who's the whitest guy out there? I'll take him.
Right. He seemed to be whiter than Mark Kelly and Josh Shapiro, so I don't know. I just picked him. Something like that.
I could see that. And another thing that I forget who said this last night, but it is true. One of the things you want in a campaign, if you can get it, is you want somebody who the candidate really likes on a personal level.
I know.
You want to be somebody who they just really vibe with, who they enjoy being out together with and like doing their thing with, right? And I believe she has a pretty good relationship with Bashir. I don't know. There have to be other people. I mean, is it possible it's somebody nobody's talking about?
It's always possible. It's not going to be Gretchen Whitmer. We're over that. She's going to stay in Michigan and be a co-chair. I don't know if they're going to pull out, you know, like you guys were talking about last night, like some admiral or something, but, you know, who knows? I think that the gravity of this moment and the humility of this task are going to bear down on her, and I don't think she's going to take a risk, or I don't think she's going to surprise. I think she's going to go with, you know, the white guy governor who helps her win, because she's not going to want to take this country down with Donald Trump winning, and that's a grave task. I mean, that's really, you know, I woke up today really feeling for her, and so I want to say something on the timing though. I was on a panel, Brookings panel this morning with a couple of wise people, Henry Olsen, E.J. Dionne, and Bill Galston, and myself. And Bill Galston.
I would not count Henry Olsen as a wise person. But
sure. Okay, he was
tapped
as a wise man to be on the panel, and and Bill Galston said Obama defined Mitt Romney before he ever got a chance, before he ever got to the convention, and it's critical this doesn't happen to Harris. My thoughts about naming that VP close to the convention to build the excitement for the convention is like, that convention is going to get watched anyway. It is going to be riveting television. They're going to say goodbye to Joe Biden. It's going to be such a drama, and such a first glass ceiling smashing, you know, big deal that it will get a lot of eyes. I think when you talked about the coming moments, Joe Biden giving his speech, her giving her first speech, I want her to have as many public events, as big moments as possible.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's why I would prefer she gets the Veep thing going soon, to get out on the trail with him, to build excitement about the ticket well before the convention. August 18th is like close to election day. I just want to get it going like yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, it's 3 more weeks, right? That's it's 3 more weeks to the convention. I want to say there's a lot to talk about here. I do want to talk about something that's a human element here. It is amazing to me that Kamala Harris 3.5 weeks ago had absolutely no intention of being her party's nominee for president. That is a lot for a human being to get their heads around, especially because she's not running against Nikki Haley. Right. I mean, look, if it's a normal year, then it's normal year, right? People roll with it. They do what they're going to do. And but John McCain isn't the alternative, not John McCain or Mitt Romney or Nikki Haley. Like it's the guy who wants to be a dictator, who just picked the little tiny Himmler type who thinks that he should disobey orders from the Supreme Court. And, to wake up one morning and realize, holy shit, am I up to doing this?
It's on me.
I mean, I take forever to buy like a TV or something, because I got to do all the research and check Wirecutter, and then what are the black levels like? It takes me longer than 3 weeks to settle on a new television. This is a very short time frame to figure out whether or not you're willing to accept that burden. And this must have been a real heavy ride for her for the last 3.5 weeks.
That's why I woke up worried about her. And it's the very thing you just said. It's because she's not running against John McCain or Nikki Haley. This can't really be a moment of celebration. She made it. She's the most fabulous career woman. She was Attorney General of California, and then she was a senator, and then she was a vice president. And now she has the chance to go down in U.S. history as our first, female president, Indian mother, Jamaican father, because it's a race against Trump and literally the potential end of the American experiment. It's just not that. And so I really am worried about her. I mean, I feel differently than I expected to. I mean, yesterday it was pure relief, right? The feeling that we hadn't exhaled since June 26th, because on June 27th, all day, I had a terrible feeling and was sick to my stomach, had pains in my chest before the debate started. So the feeling that that was behind us was yesterday. And then today I remembered Marian, I think it's Marian Robinson, Michelle Obama's mother. She had this moment after Obama won in 2008. And they were in the hotel room watching the returns, and she just got very somber and held his hand. And she was like, wow, you have to do this. Yeah. You have to lead this country. And my gosh, I mean, thinking back, that is doesn't compare to this moment. So yeah, it's so daunting.
Because of that, I think honestly, all of the historic first stuff can be left unsaid about her candidacy and becomes more powerful because of it. Right. If that makes sense. I mean, here's one way I tend to think about these things is that American elections are usually won by the bigger star. Not always, but the person who's the bigger cultural impact, has the bigger cultural footprint, is the bigger star. She will have the potential to be the bigger star than Trump. Now, she has to deliver the goods over the next 16 weeks. But we're going to live in a world where, precisely because people don't know if she can deliver the goods, there will be even more interest, right? And she will have the ability, at least from the beginning, to fill arenas.
Yes.
To put 30,000 people in a spot to see her. She did this with her kickoff when she ran in 2020, her big outdoor thing. She delivered a fantastic speech. She got, I want to say it was like 15,000 or 25,000. It was like 5 digits of people showed up to watch her. She's going to have the ability to do that today. And if she has the goods, right, if she's able to really deliver on her promise with that, the ball will start rolling. And here's something I said on our morning meeting today, and then Tim got like real mad at me. He was like, "Hey, slow your roll, JVL." I think we should all be open to the possibility that she's going to wind up riding a wave and a movement that we haven't seen in America since Obama '08. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the conditions are there for it to happen. The fact that it's and in a way that wouldn't have happened if, if Biden had said he was stepping aside in 2022 and she had been part of a normal primary process and maybe she'd even won, right? But there's a perfect storm here.
Yes.
And Tim said to me, hold on, she's not Obama. And I said, no, it's true. She is not as gifted a politician, certainly as gifted a speaker as Obama is. She's quite talented, but she's not at that level. But on the other hand, Trump isn't John McCain.
Right.
Obama assembled his gigantic movement just around the sort of, idea of hope at a time when things were uncertain. We just had a financial crisis, and that was a big part of it. People were scared. But also the alternative was John McCain. The alternative was a guy that everybody in America liked genuinely. She is positioned against this guy who is the most hated political figure in American history. Right. Also, deeply loved by his 40%. But the people who hate, again, 55% of the country fucking hates this dude. And I think there's a chance that she could wind up riding a wave that becomes a genuine political movement into this. And it could be a real groundswell. Not sure it's going to happen. This isn't a prediction. This is more like a hurricane watch, right? It's like, well, we're keeping our eyes on a tropical depression down there. I don't know. Am I crazy to think that? No, Tim thought I was crazy.
No, I think you're right because of what we were talking about before, really, that this pent up, this long time struggle that we're all so ready to be out of before she gets there, as you describe, and has to deliver. We had this in our company Slack, saw the little tweet yesterday from Charlie XCX, who is a British pop influencer with 3.5 million followers, who just tweeted yesterday, Kamala is brat. And people were saying this is like literally priceless, this kind of like social media endorsement, comment, because Charlie XCX describes her definition of the word brat this way. You are just that girl who's a little messy and maybe says dumb things sometimes, who feels herself, but then also maybe has a breakdown, but parties through it. It is honest, blunt, and a little bit volatile. That's brat. And it said so much to me that she's going to be able, in terms of the bigger star wins, she's going to be able to tap into something new.
Yeah.
Not only have we not seen it since Obama, we've had 4 years of a white guy and 4 years of another white guy. But like you said, he wasn't fighting an existential battle. And if she's going into battle, but she's new, she's also a new phenomenon, and people are watching videos of her dancing and doing the coconut tree, and they're kind of into it. And then they decide she's our girl. That's a big problem for Republicans.
Yeah, Charlie Wartzel wrote this last night. It's actually a very deep point. Like Harris, again, she has vulnerabilities, she has weaknesses, but she isn't bland, right? It's not that there's nothing about her, and all these little rough edges to her, like the dancing and the laugh and the coconut and the all those things. Those things are also like handholds, right? Things that the culture can grab onto, to make something of her. And so I just think that it looks like the conditions for a perfect storm. I could see it happening in ways which simply could not have happened in a normal process.
Exactly. And the thing is, she has problems. She has liabilities. She's going to be blamed for the border, et cetera. That makes sense to and people who are into politics know that she has staff turnover because she's not nice to them and she's volatile, right? That is for the politically informed. What I'm talking about, the special magic carpet that she just might have and knew is a drug, is that she can tap into the culture among people who decide elections who don't follow politics and don't know that stuff about her. They don't know who her chief of staff is. They don't know about any of this stuff. The Republicans will be screaming, "This was a coup against democracy because she didn't
good
win a
luck.
primary, and we're going to have to contest her ballot access, and we're really angry about such and such, and she was the border czar." And that's just the kind of voters that
Those
you
are
and I
process
talking.
arguments, right?
Right.
Process arguments always lose.
If she taps into a new set of people and energizes them, those very people are not interested in listening to that crap, and it won't resonate with them. Yeah. That resonates with people who are already following politics and have probably chosen a team.
Yeah, I think that's right. And she, again, it could all fall apart, but
anything can. I think
this is. Do you know what? Here's I mean, look, it's one data point. But the $100 million in 24 hours is a big data point. And it reminded me of this. I don't know how closely you follow the business of Hollywood and movies and stuff. You grew up in the world of entertainment. Every once in a while, you'll get a movie that comes out and it kind of flies under the radar, but it finds a home and it finds an audience on like video, on demand, on streaming, and people sort of fall in love with it. And then like 6 years later, you'll get a sequel to it. And the sequel will open to just gigantic numbers. Right. And people will be like, what the hell? Where did that come from? Right. You saw this with the second John Wick movie. You saw the second Rush Hour movie, the second Lethal Weapon. These things happen. Right. And the answer is that actually there was pent up demand in the market for this. And people didn't realize it because the first movie didn't do that great. But it did find an audience, and people were out there really jonesing for this thing to happen. And that $100 million looks to me like pent up demand for youth and pent up demand for something new. And that stuff's powerful, and it's especially powerful in a short race. This is, I think James Carville said, the single most powerful 3 letters in politics are new. Right.
And maybe JVL, this was all a perfect storm of blessings and disguises, because
maybe
Biden went on for 3 weeks and didn't listen and dragged his feet. He didn't step aside in 2022. He didn't step aside in 2023. And if she succeeds, it is probably because there was an explosion and everyone realized it feels good to feel good, and it feels good to face the future and not be stuck here or be in the past. And we're going to start sending all this money. We're juiced up. We're excited. We're energized. We're mobilized. And that if she can make it through those 16 weeks and she ends up winning, I think it might be the gift of the strange, way that it all unfolded. That it was only 16 weeks. And it was after the shooting. I know this is controversial.
Okay. Hit me.
But I do think that there is a part of the attempted assassination on Donald Trump that makes people think bad stuff happens when he's around.
Chaos, right? This is what you get. It's just chaos.
Too much drama.
And in this case, chaos touched him.
And
but he's the chaos agent. Yeah. He's the one who sows this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually have thought that the shooting could very easily play against him in that. I mean, it's going to make his people will take it all as like the greatest thing to ever happen. But for your median swing voter type, your Trump to Biden voter who's then drifting back towards Trump, it just feels like more of the same. Mm-hmm. Like this is why they wanted to get off that ride in the first place. Yeah. What do you think happens if Donald Trump is winding up losing to a black woman? How do you think that's going to go?
Well, as my almost 21-year-old daughter just said to me an hour ago, isn't it going to be scarier if Trump loses? And I said, what do you mean, with Kamala Harris as president? She said, no, if he loses, isn't the reaction going to be worse? And I said, that's not a reason to vote for him. And she said, no, I know it's not, but we have to now combine the election was stolen for the second election in a row with I lost to a non-white woman.
Well, this is now a built-in excuse, right? They switched They said our campaign was all focused on Joe Biden, and they switched at the last minute, and
But
they cheated. Right? You can
but
see it was
no,
all
but then he's still not a winner. If he can't come out and say, well, of course I wasn't going to beat her. I mean, he has to be a
right.
winner. So this is going to be unbelievable. I can't go there today.
I asked this on the live stream last night. Who's the first person from MAGA world to get caught saying the N-word in public?
Yeah, I listened to that.
Who do you think it's going to be?
I don't know that it'll be like on a podcast on the record. It might be recorded secretly.
No, not on a podcast. I think like, so, is just says it in public while people are recording.
John McEntee?
It could be Johnny McEntee. Who is the he was once upon a time a respected theologian. He did like the Bonhoeffer biography, and then Eric Metaxas.
Oh,
there's your dark horse.
Oh.
There's your dark horse. Yeah. It's Eric Metaxas.
He's definitely had too many.
Do you remember he's the guy who tweeted about like running? He tweeted about taking a run through Central Park and passing some African American gentleman smoking weed, and he tweeted about how, as I ran past them, I yelled, "Get a job!" But I meant it sincerely because I wanted to, help them with their lives. I was like, oh, this dude is one step away.
Yeah.
One step away.
It's her name was mispronounced at the convention, and it's we have to strap in. We have to strap in. Even if that never happens, if that word is never used, we have to strap in for a real ride. And I know she's tough enough to take that. I think. Oh yeah. I think the job of stopping Donald Trump and winning the election is very tough. Taking the slings and arrows, she's totally ready for, and I think whoever she picks for VP will be wonderful at that. Very, very helpful. But it's just, I don't want the ugliness. I don't want to see it.
Same. I don't want to see it. You know why I really don't want to see it? Because I don't want to see the inevitable defense of it then, which would happen. Right, because this is the problem, right? Somebody says the N-word, and then you will have like 48 hours of right-wing people on Twitter talking about, oh, actually, that's fine. I don't want that. Final thing, I guess. I mean, nothing's foreordained, and it's not that Biden was absolutely going to lose. Again, he could have rolled double sixes, right? I think his odds of having a good outcome in the election were quite low. But I do get the sense that for the first time, people think that there is a win probability, which is significant, not better than 50%. I think she's still probably at 35 to 45%. But I get the sense that people believe, okay, this is not an impossible task. We saw Donald Trump at his convention. We've seen how tired and old that guy is. We've got this new hotness, and she is tested. The whole party's unified behind her. We actually can win this thing. Like we can stop the authoritarians again. And it is priceless to believe that you can win. Like not out of a Pollyanna-ish, right? Believe me, I had all sorts of people tell me Joe Biden's still going to win in a landslide, and I don't count that. I mean, to be able to realistically, when you're having your dark night of the soul, say, no, actually, we can still win. This is not like having to roll double sixes.
Right.
That's priceless.
I completely agree. And I think when people see her out there and see her energy and her coherence, and then she has a partner who's the same way, and they are describing to the American people who do not follow the news in detail what the Supreme Court has done to create a new, never before in existence immunity to protect Trump in a second term because he committed crimes in the first term and afterwards. And for someone to be able to get up there who doesn't speak like Trump and doesn't speak like Biden, I know those are different, but get up there and explain what's at stake in an energetic way in their 50s, or early 60s or whatever we're going to have, is just going to be, that's priceless too. People are going to say, this is what it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to see tomorrow. We're supposed to see the
Yeah.
future. And that is just something that we haven't had since Obama left office. I don't know. I mean, Hillary and Trump, that was not, who wanted to watch
Yeah.
that campaign? Nobody.
Yeah.
It's been a long
That's
time.
exactly right. It's been exactly right. Well, AB, I'm going to sign off now in a way that I've never done before on this show, because I mean it this time. Good luck, America.